Now, if we go back to your reaction to those first results at that period, now we're in the 1970s, and for decades in the 1970s, the only way to see the brain is actually indirect ways to see the brain, whether with arteriography or encephalography. Now, what was your reaction as a medical student when you saw the inside of the brain without actually opening the brain? What was the way you reacted to this?
Up to a point for me as a medical student, everything was new, and so I just went along to see this scanner, as this my consultant took me along. But it was actually fascinating, and I don't think at the time I quite realized just how new and exciting it was. As a student, I'd been involved in doing traditional angiography. I'd seen traditional scans, and obviously quite invasive for patients. And what's interesting also is that how long it takes for people to let go of technology. Once you're committed to technology, you don't want to do anything different. And therefore, I did the London Fellowship of the Royal College of Radiologists, a radiology examination in 1981 to 84. And we had lectures on lumbar area encephalography, which was over 10 years later, which seems astonishing now. And I think seeing all these images was a complete miracle. But whilst it was fascinating for me as a student, in fact, one of the reasons I did radiology was actually seeing what was going on in radiology at the time. It was also miraculous for Godfrey and for James Ambrose. And James Ambrose was a neuroradiologist from Atkinson Morley's Hospital, and they scanned a patient with a suspected brain tumor. And although Ambrose had seen the experimental studies of using specimens, it said that when Ambrose saw the first brain scan, it showed the brain in a great deal more detail than was actually expected. And then the story goes that Ambrose and Hounsfield danced around the room like two footballers, which had scored the winning goal. At that point, obviously the scanner and the computer were separate. So the scanner was at Atkinson Morley's Hospital. The computer was at the Central Research Laboratory at EMI. And it's interesting, my consultant who took me to Queen Square was a chap called Bill Goody. And in fact, Bill Goody later on recommended that all politicians and world leaders should have a regular CT scan to make sure they didn't have a brain tumor or something which might cause erratic behavior.